Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to the first ever Divine Feminine Wisdom podcast, where we talk about evolving the mind, body, and spirit so that you can free your soul and create the life of your own dreams. In today's podcast, we talk about quite a few topics. Some topics are free will, the soul and the Universoul, the Akashic records, Claircognizance, the Archangels, the web of creation, the evolution of the earth and humanity, and much, much more. Without further ado, let's get started with the messages. I'm sending you all divine light and healing as you listen to this divine feminine wisdom. Solo. Free will is separation from the whole. Soul is a very human thing. It's very unique to humans. That's why a lot of civilizations, they are more in a collective form. You know, the humans, it's like we have our soul and then we have our energy that's connected to the human soul, the collective soul of humanity. But humans also have an individual soul. This is what gives us free will. It's what allows us to walk separate paths. It's what allows us to be even more distinct from spirit, where humans are almost like, they're very unique. Humans are very unique because it's almost like what Source was trying to do. Source was trying to discover itself. Source was trying to see itself in many different languages and many different physicalities and many different visualizations. It was basically just trying to understand itself. It was trying to know itself. So what better way than to break yourself up into parts? But it's not just enough to break yourself into parts. It is being able to be a part, understand what it's like to be a part, to just be an individual, one person, and what it's like to be a part of the collective. It also speaks a lot about things like intersectionality. Even if you think about Brenner's ecological model, it has something to do with that as well. So if we go to intersectionality, that's saying that we all have these intersecting identities, and we decide which identities are the most salient to us. And if you go into Brenner's ecological model, that basically says that we don't just exist in isolation. We exist as a part of a family unit, as a part of a community, as a part of a society, as a part of a culture, as a part of an ethnicity, as a part of a nationality. Humans have many different parts, and it's these parts all combined in very unique ways that allows for the expression of the self, the expression of the ego. I think the ego is something that has been really pushed down. It's especially it goes into the almost like the false positivity that you see going around when people are like, if you're not feeling happy, then you're doing something wrong. You need to be feeling happy all the time. The goal is to be happy. That's not true. In life, we have ups and downs. In life, we have ebb and flows. If you're just happy, then you're stagnant. That's just one state. So some people try to hold on to the happiness so much, but that's not really what life is about. Life is about the outward expression. This is coming straight from the Akashic record. I just got a channel from the Akashic record, but life is about the expression of all that you are. Not just you in isolation, not just you as a daughter, not just you as a mother, not just you as a father, not just you as a brother, not just you as an African American, not just you as a Caucasian, not just you as a Native American, not just you as a male, not just you as binary. It's about all of your identities. It's about the expression of yourself as a whole. So humans are very unique because there's you see it being mirrored in society right now when people are picking and choosing their identities, right? Because it's not just the identities that you are given, because everything's ever changing, and you can be born in a certain place, but that does not mean that those identities and characteristics that you were born into is where you have to stay, is where you have to remain. You can choose where you go next. You can choose what you do next. You can choose your nationality. You can choose your gender. surrender nowadays, right? And I think this is all going into that age of Aquarius kind of energy with life. The whole understanding of life is the expression of all, not just the expression of all that you are, but the expression of all that you are in the way that you want it to be expressed. So not just source dissecting itself to understand itself from all these unique parts, but having that time and experience to sit there and observe and see the different possibilities out there, and then pick and choose where you want to go, which direction you want to take. Of course, there's always going to be higher things that come into your life as a human, because we are still connected to the collective. We are still connected to the soul. And something else that I feel like Spirit is telling me with this message is that there's almost an energy of you not needing to be connected, you not needing to be connected to mental process. This is not something that you can think about. This is very claircognizant, the way this energy is coming out. It's coming straight from the Akashic record. It's coming straight from your soul. There's information, there's channels, there's light coming straight from your soul. And everyone should be experiencing this. Again, if I'm experiencing this on an individual level and as an individual soul, I know that the human collective is able to experience it, because I'm someone who's very tuned in to many of the identities that I hold, not just the physical identities. We also hold spiritual identities. We hold ancestral identities, the blood. We're not just the outward layer of the skin, these masks. Humans have become very obsessed with, their physical appearance, but you're more than your physical appearance, right? And just like you're more than your physical appearance, you're more than your body. I mean, even if you look at your body, you can look at your blood type. That gives you even more identities. And you can look at your soul type. You can look at your starseed family. You can look at the origin of your soul. When did you break away from source? Because their souls broke away at different times. They're the ones that they call the old souls, are the ones that broke away from source almost near the beginning, when force originally started splitting. The Archangel energy. We all have these energies within us, yes. But there are some soul types that broke away. They broke away sooner. And when those archangel energies, the bigger energies, when source was, I think they call it like the Big Bang. When the universe started to express itself, to realize itself, the universe started to break itself away into the bigger bodies, like the planetary bodies. But even bigger than that, because source is more than just this solar system. Source is more than just this one universe. Source is the multiverse. Source is the web that is all, right? So when source first started, when the duality first started, there were these big energies. So those two big energies, those are like the twin flame energies, that divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy. That's why those two energies have to come together in order to create life. Because those were like the beginning energies, the energy of the light, the energy of the darkness. That's the same thing as masculine and feminine. So that's basically those dualistic energies. And then again, those dualistic energies broke even more into even smaller pieces. And when you just keep breaking it down into pieces, it's almost like one of the final pieces that source broke itself into was humans. I mean, even if you just think about it, like, this is something that you should be able to think about if you're in touch with some parts of science, right? Because if you think about the evolution of the planet, the evolution of Gaia, the evolution of Earth, right? First, there were marine bodies, and these were very huge bodies, again, because as above, so below. Everything that's being reflected on this planet is just, it's singing the same song of the universe, of life, the circle of life. It's just source experiencing itself. That's what that cycle is. It's replicating in everything. So when you understand the cycle, when you understand the pattern, you literally can see all. So going back to the planetary bodies, you see when the earth was formed, there was so much that had to happen for the earth to be formed. And not just that, there was so much that had to happen in order for the earth to be able to sustain human life. Humans evolved from so many different things. Everyone has a different theory about where they feel like humans came from, coming from the stars, the product of some kind of genetic manipulation. The thing is, some people take a part of the truth and they just want to hold on to it and they say this is all of the truth, but that's not true. In order for something to be all of the truths, all of those small truths, those little pieces of the puzzles that people have, all of those are true. They all come together. They all come together to create humanity, which is one of the final incarnations of spirit in a very small form, a very small and material piece. Humans are one of the densest, most material representations of spirit, and still has soul, right? So to be physical and ethereal at the same time, humans are very special. There are many different species and civilizations that incarnate into human bodies. And I think what's happening on the planet right now, Spirit's telling me with those archangel energies, is those are the energies, those big bodies, those archangels, one of the first splits from source, which you would call the energies that are closest to God, closest to the goddess energy. But again, God is just the masculine form of God. Goddess is the feminine form, but they are both God. They're God together, and then every little ripple of that has source. That's what people say when they say everyone has God in them. Of course, if you have spirit, if you have source, which we're on Gaia, we're on a living, breathing, physical entity, which is Mother Earth. We all have source, just like she has source, but Earth, again, is just a piece of what source is. It's so unfathomable to most people, and most people can't really understand what it's like to connect all of these dots, and that's just because it has to do with when their soul cut off from spirit. The bigger your energy is, the bigger the body of light you can hold, the more awareness you can have. So some people can only have a certain amount of awareness. I think that's where humans get mixed up too. Again, you can have someone incarnate into a human body and their light, their energy could be what you call a newer soul, could have just split off from spirit. Right? People even get confused when it comes to dating the souls. Like, just because a soul just incarnates on earth does not mean that it's a new soul, because there's many different places it can incarnate before earth. So I know it's getting a bit complex, but having that background knowledge is just really helpful when it comes to understanding the archangel energies, because the archangel energies being incarnated and awakening on this planet right now is amazing. And that's actually what I spent 2020 doing. I spent 2020, that's when I got really heavy into my tarot channel, into really growing it and doing readings for other people. And I noticed a lot of the people that were coming to me to get readings were those archangel energies. They would have the same names, Gabriel. And again, it doesn't just have to be, many of them were named after angels or gods or goddesses or remnants of it, but it's not just physical features. Some of them will have the energy. I will notice patterns in them. And being able to, because I've channeled the human collective, and when you're not just channeling the human collective, you're channeling all the energies that have incarnated into a human body. You can access that energy. Accessing the Akashic records to channel in that kind of way really, really opens you up and expands your mind. And there are souls right now, younger souls, that are learning a lot because of being in the presence of the archangel energies. So this is why it's important not only to be patient with people during their spiritual journey, but to understand that everyone is living a different journey. Now, someone like me is like the archangel energy within the archetype, but it's more than the archangel energies, because the archangel energies came after the duality split. I am an incarnation of the divine feminine, the goddess energy. Literally the energy of blackness, the energy of the goddess, the energy of the womb, the energy of creation, and also therefore the energy of destruction. Those energies together represent the divine feminine, the energy of abundance, maternal energy, constantly creating. It's reflected in everything that I do. And there are also, I am not the only incarnation of the divine feminine energy, but I am a part of the energy that did a it was the first split. When Source first split, it split into that divine feminine black energy and the divine masculine white energy. I've heard someone talk about the white brotherhood or the white lodge or something like that, some kind of higher being group, and that always bothered me. It always bothered me that white was the only color that represented divinity, because that didn't seem right to me. Black and white just always seemed to go together, and when they would say that white holds all of the colors of the rainbow, I feel like black does as well. I mean, come on, take paint. Take some paint, mix all the colors together, and then put black there. And you tell me what color that's going to be. It's not going to be white. You put anything in white, and white becomes that color, right? So that's the divine masculine energy. That's that part of divinity. But then there's also the divine feminine energy, the energy of creation, the energy of the womb. In order for anything to be created, it goes through that black energy. Even if you think of an idea being created, it starts in your mind, something you think about, and then you create it. You make it tangible. Even if you think about a baby being born, it's in the womb, it's in the stomach, it's in the dark. And then it is born into the light. So both are needed. Both are needed. But that Messiah white energy, I feel like that white lodge is connected to that. That's what I assume they do. They're representations of the divine masculine energy. And then you have goddess energies like Kali, like Durga, like Morgan. I should have known, because I was always completely in love and obsessed with goddess energy. It just felt so at home to me. So it's interesting because this channel came to me when I was looking at something called ambivert, because it's just the synchronicities now are amazing. I'm not sure what happened in the astrology, because as much as I've had chances to learn astrology, I've been more into just feeling the energy. I don't know why. I just love feeling the energy and then getting confirmation through the astrology. But I feel like there's been some kind of big switch. There's been a big shift in consciousness, a major shift in consciousness. It could have been because my move, it could be because space is freed up. And it also could have something to do with the eclipses, because that's a dark energy. That's the energy of where the darkness and the light meet. That's a twin flame union kind of energy, which just has to do with that energies coming together. But either way, life has become a waking dream. It's become a waking dream of my creation, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But I'm also seeing ways that I can continue to purge. For some reason, I just had it in my journey that it was necessary for me to let go of a lot. It has to do with my past lives, but again, that's definitely a story for another time. I've had dreams like with my past lives for a very long time, since I was born, and I know there's other people who are more in tune with their past lives as well. So, but that's a story for another time. But like I was saying, I got into this channel from reading about a Soulbivert, and then understanding, just the understandings just started coming at lightning speed after that word was introduced. So it's something that's happening in the human collective. You may notice that someone goes to channel something, or someone says something, and then you just start having all these divine revelations yourself. Someone could be telling you about their divine revelation. Like throughout this, you may have noticed understandings coming to yourself with just hearing something I say, and then you start having these understandings. Follow your train of thought. Whenever that happens, pause consuming that other person's channel, what the other person wrote, what the other person said. Try to pause it if you can. And then start to pay attention to your thoughts, those revelations that you're having. Write them down. Pay attention to them. Talk them into the speaker like I'm doing, because there's some unique to your soul that's coming together. Like the web of creation. It's sort of like the kind of thing where the hardest part may be just latching onto one. But once you have one, everything just quickly falls into place. Sort of like dominoes. right? You knock one down and then they all, when they're aligned like that in spirit, anything coming from divinity is perfectly aligned like that. It just all falls into place. So that's my recommendation. I've been getting lots of these different channels. I'm not 100% sure what to do with them. I was thinking about posting them so that other people in the human collective could have this information. That's likely what I'm being drawn to do. So yeah, I just encourage everyone to really pay attention to your own thoughts. Really pay attention to your energy, your divine feminine and divine masculine energy. Everyone has these truths within themselves, right? And there's many people who are more strongly like those twin flames. Those are the ones who are going to be really connected to a divine masculine or divine feminine energy. Of course, these exist within all of us, but again, it goes into soul types. So I encourage you to understand your soul, to look within and see what your soul is trying to tell you. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. And if you're interested in learning more, remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe to this channel.